I was able to get four I can't say that. Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Cody. If you guys are new here, if you're not, welcome back. I am going to be working with what I think is probably my very favorite thing to work with in the kitchen right now, and that is a whole chicken. This is, I think, one of the most underutilized things that we can have in our kitchens right now. It is, I mean, you can get so many uses out of it. So I thought that I would show you guys just basically the whole life that this chicken is going to live in my kitchen. So the first thing that I am going to do is I am going to roast it, and we are going to eat off of it for dinner. So we won't eat all of the meat in one meal as a family. Some families might. We will not. But I'm going to roast it, and we are going to have roast chicken as much as we want to eat off of it today for our dinner tonight. So I am going to first and foremost take it out of the packaging. Some whole chickens that you buy will come with the gizzards and the like innard stuff, the organ meat. You can save that and use it. You can get even more uses out of that chicken if you decide that you want to use that stuff. That's just not stuff that we use in our home. So this one does come with it. A lot of times they will come in like a package like this. You can use that for a lot of stuff. So I am going to take this chicken out of the packaging. I'm going to put it breast side up, which is the side that the legs are on. And then the next thing that I am going to do is I have just some softened butter, and I am going to take my fingers and run this butter inside underneath the skin. So you can make a compound butter with this, which I often do. I did not do it today. I didn't have time to do it today, but you can add things to the butter. So I like to do garlic salt or garlic powder, salt and pepper, that sort of thing. This is salted butter, so I don't really feel like I need to add it. So I'm just going to take a clump of this butter. Is really soft. It's been out at room temperature all day. I'm going to stick it underneath, and then I am going to, on the top of the chicken, push it down. So that's going to kind of get that underneath there all over the place. This is going to keep that meat really nice and moist while you're cooking it. That butter will melt just right into that meat, and it's also going to help flavor that skin. All right, so with completely clean hands now, I can stick my hands in my salt and pepper jar. So I am just going to salt pretty liberally the top. Make sure that you're getting like the legs and the wings and everything as well. I'm gonna add pepper to that as well. Same thing, you wanna make sure that you're getting that everywhere, not just right at the top. And then I like to add a little bit of garlic powder. So I'm gonna cover this and cook it for a couple of hours. Okay, so I finished roasting my chicken. Oh, it looks so good. So we will have this with our dinner tonight. And then after we have eaten everything that we're gonna eat off of it for tonight, I will let it cool down completely, and then I will show you how I kind of tear it apart. We have finished our dinner, and so I am going to do the next stuff that I always do with a whole chicken. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull all of the meat off of the bones, and I'm just going to put those in a Ziploc bag because we will use this for another meal. While I'm working on that, I'm also going to pull all of the skin off and put this in a separate bag because this is also some really good stuff. So once I have gotten to this point, I have a bag with a lot of extra chicken in that. I don't know if you can see how much we have in there. And then I have a bag that has some skin in it. I am going to take everything that I have left over, and I'm going to add it to my Instant Pot with a couple of other things and make some chicken bone broth with it. I'm going to turn on that saute setting because most of what is in here is just fat and the skin and bones. So I am going to get a little bit of brown on this, and that's just going to make our end product just that much better. So I'm going to let that saute for a minute, and then I will start to add the rest of the stuff. Okay, so I'm getting some good brown bits on the bottom there. You can't see them because they're covered, but I can sure smell them. So I am going to add 2 carrots. I'm just going to snap those in half and then add those right in. If they were not organic carrots, I would probably peel them, but I'm not too worried about it with organic carrots. And then I'm going to add, I do not like celery, but I notice it when it's missing in that. So I'm going to add those 2 things, and then I'm going to add some salt and pepper, a good amount of salt. If you don't want flecks of pepper in your chicken stock, you can add whole peppercorns, and that way you'll get the flavor, but you're not getting the actual pepper. And then the last thing that I'm going to add, oh, you know what? I actually have 2 more things to add. So the next thing I'm going to add are onion flakes, and then I'm going to add some garlic to that. I never measure this, it's just kind of whatever feels right. And today, that much feels right. Before I add the water into this, I am going to add just a glug, that much, however much that was, of apple cider vinegar. And that's going to help break those bones down and pull that collagen out, and it's going to make it taste even better. So then the last thing I need to do is add water. So I am going to add it just to the max fill line because I want to get the most out of this chicken stock that I can. Finish up my water here. So I have all my stuff in. I'm going to put my lid on, and I'm going to pressure cook this for 4 hours, and then it will be done like in the middle of the night for me, so it'll just stay warm until tomorrow. And then tomorrow I will pull this out and strain it and can it, and I will get 3.5 quarts of homemade chicken bone broth from that one chicken. We have made it to day 2 of our chicken. So last night we got the chicken meat, a good amount of it, not all of it, about half of it maybe, off of our roast chicken for our dinner. And then I put my bones and some other things in my Instant Pot, and it cooked all night, and then it stayed on warm for a while today. It was library day, so that's one thing I really like about doing it in the Instant Pot, is after it cooks, it can stay on warm for a little while, and it just kind of gives you a little bit of leeway. So now I'm just using my spider to get all of these bones out. So I'm actually still not done with these bones. So because I cooked them for such a long time, and because I cooked them with apple cider vinegar, these bones are just, I mean, they just completely disintegrate in your hand. So I'm not going to get any use out of them for us, but they are perfectly safe for our dogs to eat. So I will now finish off using these bones by getting some dog food out of them, which is really nice. So I have my stock now completely cooked through. It smells great and is incredibly filled with all of those vitamins and minerals and collagen and all of the great things that we want to get from that. But I do want to strain it. So I am going to strain it in my gallon pitcher. It kind of depends on how much stuff I ended up putting in my pot, but usually I can get 3, sometimes 3.5 quart-sized jars of chicken bone broth out of one chicken. So I am going to go ahead and strain it, put it in my jars, and we'll see how much I made. Now I will say that the fat is going to rise to the top fairly quickly. So I am going to, before I just fill up an entire jar, I like to put a little bit in each jar, and that is just going to kind of help me get that fat separated out between each jar. That way I don't have one that is like a quarter of the way filled with the fat and then the rest don't have any. I know it sounds kind of gross to be like, oh, I want fat in there, but you do. That fat is flavor for starters, but it also just, it adds a richness and a nice body to anything that you're adding a homemade bone broth to. So never skimp on the fat if you can keep from it. So I'm just gonna pour about that much in each jar. And then from there, I'm just gonna fill them up. So I ended up getting 4 full quarts out of this one, but I do sometimes like to stick some in pint jars as well. It just kind of gives me some options. If I don't need a full 4 cups for a recipe, I can pull out a pint jar and it works really well. Before I actually can, so you can take these and put these in the refrigerator or even in the freezer at this point once they are completely cooled down. Don't put them in the freezer until they're cooled down. But once they are completely cooled down, you can put them in the refrigerator or the freezer. If you put them in the refrigerator, you want to use them within about a week. This is way too much bone broth for us to use within the next week. Sometimes that's not true. If it's like if I'm making a lot of soups or stews, then I could probably go through this much in a week, but I know what our meal plan looks like and I know that we won't use that. So at this point, I would either stick it in the freezer, which you can keep in for 3 to 6 months, perfectly safe. Once you want to use it, pull it out, let it come down back up to room temperature, heat it up, and you are good to go. But I like to can mine just so that I can have it on my pantry shelves instead of in my freezer. I'm gonna end up with 4 full quarts of homemade, delicious, just nutrient-rich chicken bone broth just from that one roasted chicken. So the last kind of thing that I have to deal with my roast chicken is my chicken skin. So tonight for dinner, we are going to have just a big salad night. So I am just going to have all the salad fixins. We're gonna use the rest of the chicken from last night. I'm gonna make some hard-boiled eggs and we'll have just lots of yummy stuff. But I really want something for my salad that is going to be crunchy. So I don't have any croutons and I don't have time to make any right now, but I do have this chicken skin and it is going to be the perfect thing. So on top of actually our salad, we're also going to have some baked potatoes, and I think that crispy chicken skin on a baked potato just sounds fabulous. So I have a cookie sheet with parchment paper, and I am going to, this chicken skin got cold in the refrigerator, so it does make it a little bit more difficult to use, to mess with, but that's okay, I can deal with it. So I am going to pull this apart and flatten it out as best as I can and cover my cookie sheet with this. Just like that. So I'm going to do that with all of the chicken skin that I have. And most of this got a really nice salt and pepper on it whenever I was actually cooking the chicken. And so I don't want to add any more to it just because it did get a really nice flavor whenever I was roasting the chicken. So if you didn't season your chicken super well when you were actually cooking it, then you would probably want to add some nice flavoring to it right now as well. So now that I have everything out on my cookie sheet, I'm going to spread out just a little bit. I'm going to take another piece of parchment paper and set it on top of that. And another cookie sheet, and I'm going to set that right on top of it. So what that's going to do is it's going to cook. Both cookie sheets are going to get hot, so that chicken skin is going to get hot from both sides, which is going to make sure that it's nice and crispy. But this is going to add some weight to the top, which is going to keep that chicken skin nice and flat. That way it doesn't get all curled, because sometimes if you don't have something on top of it, it can kind of curl up, and the middle parts can still be kind of gummy and they're not delicious. So you want to make sure that you can get that as crispy as possible. So I am going to stick this just like this, sandwiched between these 2 cookie sheets, in a 350-degree oven for about half an hour, and then I will check on it. So that is it, guys. So from one roast chicken, which from Azure Standard, I think in the end cost me about $12 to $13, I was able to get 2 meals worth of chicken for my family. I was able to get 4 full quarts of homemade chicken bone broth, super nutritious, really good stuff. And then I was able to get some chicken skin cracklins. These things are so good. They're like crispy little chip things that I will chop up and put in our salad for dinner tonight, and it's just gonna add like a delicious salty little crunch to our salad. And I was able to get all of that just out of the one chicken. I can't tell you how much we love having roast chicken anyway. And so I love having it. It is such a versatile thing to have in my kitchen. So it is definitely something that we will always keep. So that is what I am able to get out of a full roast chicken. That's the full life of it. So with that bone broth, I'm gonna be able to make 2, 3, 4 additional meals that our family will be really nourished by. So I'm pretty excited about that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that this will inspire you guys to go out and get a whole chicken and roast it yourselves. I'll see you guys next time.